In the great silver chamber of the Galactic Council, thousands of alien leaders sat in rows that curved like ripples across a pond. Their skin colors shifted between green, gold, purple, and black. Some had 6 eyes, others floated instead of walking. But today, all of them focused on one topic: Earth. A tall, thin alien named Orzith of the Netha species stood at the center. His voice echoed through the hall. We must decide. Humans, Earth species, dangerous or harmless? The room stayed silent for a long moment. Orzith tapped his long fingers on the control pad in front of him. Giant hologram appeared. It showed Earth, small and blue, floating in the darkness. Beside it, a list scrolled, population numbers. Energy level, technology status, one word at the top. Low threat level. Orzith continued. Their weapons are old. Plasma class, not even rail enhanced. Ships, outdated. No faster than light combat systems. Their world fragile. The voice interrupted. It belonged to Kaisera, leader of the Terran Dominion. Her species looked like blue-scaled dragons with metal limbs. I disagree. Their history shows violence. They have fought many wars among themselves, Orzith answered calmly. Yes, but that is their nature. Primitive Earth is small. Another alien stood now, smooth gray figure without a face, representing the Council's Data Intelligence Core. Probability of human threat to the galactic order, 0.004%. That number made several aliens in the chamber laugh, cold, buzzing laughter. The vote began. One by one, each species pressed their choice. Small golden lights marked harmless. Red lights marked dangerous. When it was finished, the result was clear. Over 90% marked harmless. The council leader spoke. Then it is decided. Humans are no threat. They are to be left as they are. There's no need for further monitoring. At the far end of the room, a small figure watched. No one really noticed him. His skin was pale, almost white. His eyes were black. He belonged to the quiet. Observer race called the Velron. The figure pressed a button on his personal data pad and sent a silent message. One line of text: they have decided. They still do not see. That same moment, on the far edge of the galaxy, a deep space listening station picked up a signal. Weak but clear. A human voice. Simple message, playing on an ancient radio. Wave frequency. This is Earth's vessel Nightwind. Long-range scout, mission complete, returning. Alien operators inside the station froze. Earth had never reported ships traveling this far before, and the signal's origin point was inside forbidden space. The operator in charge, a green-feathered being named Zrill, quickly reported to the council. But by the time the message reached them, the council meeting was already closing. Orzith was stepping down from the central platform. He read Zrill's message on his wrist pad. Then he shook his head slightly and smiled. It is of no concern. Scout vessels do not matter. Let them play. He had no idea how wrong he was. In a hidden command center beneath the surface of Earth, far below the ice of Antarctica, human leaders were gathered too. Unlike the Galactic Council, there were no grand golden chambers or glowing banners. Just steel walls, simple uniforms, quiet faces. A woman with short black hair, Commander Alina March, leaned over a glowing map of the galaxy. They voted today, she said softly. An older man beside her, gray-haired General Chen, nodded. Yes, we received the intercept. They labeled us harmless. Lena's eyes did not show joy. Instead, they showed something colder. Calculation. Good, she said. Then we can proceed. On the map, small red dots appeared across alien space. Human stealth ships, already in position. Silent, waiting. Hidden. Back in the Galactic Council's home system, a sensor officer yawned inside his station. It had been a long day. The Council had made its choice. Earth would not be watched closely now. Resources would be sent elsewhere. His screens flashed with data, meaningless and quiet, until suddenly something blinked. A ship. No ID code. Number. Comes. No signal. He zoomed in. Shape. Black hull. Sharp angles. No glowing lights. Silent. moving at impossible speed. He froze. One of the larger alien security officers stepped over. "What is it?" The officer could barely speak. "Human, ship," the large alien frowned. "Impossible." But more shapes appeared. 1, then 2, then 20. A silent fleet. The council chamber's lights dimmed. Emergency alarms triggered. Orzeth returned quickly, eyes wide now. What is happening? No one had an answer. On the outer edges of the system, space itself seemed to shimmer. Human warships, long hidden, long prepared now, moved openly. No radio contact, no declaration of war, just presence, a presence the council never expected. And far above Earth, in the shadows near the planet's moon, a massive ship powered up its engines. Bigger than anything the council had seen before, a Titan-class warship, black as night. Its name burned onto the side in cold white letters, HMS Silence. It began to move forward, slowly, towards the stars, back in the council chamber. Orzeth whispered. To himself, voice shaking for the first time in years. We may have made a mistake. The stars looked peaceful. That was what Captain Tazek thought as he stared out the wide window of his command ship. The Vicor, his crew green-scaled, sharpied, moved quietly around him. They were explorers, not soldiers. Their mission was simple. Map the space near Earth's edge, nothing more. Tazek had heard about the Council's vote. Like all the others, he believed it. Humans were harmless, primitive. That thought faded when the first alarm sounded. "Captain," said the navigator in a flat voice, "we have lost contact with scout vessel Theta-7." Tazek frowned. "Interference?" The navigator checked twice. "No, the ship is gone. Gone. Gone." In less than an hour, 3 more scout vessels vanished. No signals, no distress calls, just silence. Then the sensor officer spoke. His voice was cold now. "Captain. Unknown object detected. Right behind us." Tazek turned slowly. His stomach felt tight. "Show me." The Windows display zoomed out. There it was. One single black shape. No lights. No ID codes. It was a ship. A human ship, but it wasn't moving toward them. It just floated there. Watching, Tazek whispered, "Open comes. Send a message." Communications officer tried. Nothing. No answer. Static only. After 10 minutes, the crew grew nervous. Whispers spread among them. One of the junior officers said what they were all thinking. Maybe. They don't want to talk. It's far away from Tazek's ship. At the edge of council space, the same thing happened again. A large trade convoy went silent. 20 merchant ships, gone. When the council heard the reports, they didn't panic yet. They believed it was pirates, or maybe a technical glitch. But that belief didn't last long. On the 4th day, Security Patrol found something drifting in space. Wreckage. Burned metal. Ship fragments that once belonged to council vessels. There were no life signs. No escape pods. Just one thing survived. A small black box. It floated silently. Inside that box was a message. But it wasn't a human voice this time. It was music, soft, slow, a piano. When the council's top leaders heard it, many of them frowned in confusion. Music? Why? But one council leader, Kaisera, of the Toron Dominion, understood. Scales shivered. "It is not a greeting," she said. "It is a warning." Still some refused to believe. "It must be a mistake," Orzeth said. "Humans do not have this kind of power." But Orzeth's calm voice now had a crack in it. Reports flooded in. Everywhere near Earth's territory, human ships were spotted, always the same. Black hulls, no lights, no signals. They didn't attack first. They just appeared, watching, waiting. At the secret council security station named Varix 9, Commander Yorok ordered his fleet to investigate. 10 warships were sent, strong ones. Shields raised. The fleet flew toward the last known human position. The stars stretched around them, calm as always. Then, without warning, half the fleet's ships exploded at once. There were no enemy signals, no weapons detected. It's just silent destruction. From the Council's main command hub, Orzoth and Kaizora watched in horror. The screen showed ship after ship vanishing in bursts of light. "Activate emergency protocols," Orzoth shouted. But it was too late. One of the surviving alien ships finally picked up a direct human message. It wasn't music this time. It wasn't a full sentence either. Just for simple words. "Watch and remember us." After that, silence returned. The remaining alien ships limped home, damaged and broken. Their crews told the same story. Human warships could appear from nowhere, move without sound, strike without warning. At first, the Council tried to hide the truth. They didn't want the galaxy to panic, but word spread. Traders spoke in whispers. Pilots shared stories in backroom stations. Everywhere, aliens began to say the same sentence. "The humans are here." Whole trade routes shut down. Border planets evacuated. And still, the Council refused to believe fully until the next event. A massive colony world named Vetrax 7, population 2 billion, suddenly went dark. No energy signals, no communication, nothing. The Council dispatched rescue fleets. But when they arrived, the planet was burning. From orbit, the rescuers saw it all. Flames across cities, clouds of black smoke. Above the world, human ships floated in silence. Not attacking, just there, and on every human ship, a single word glowed in red across the hull. "Remember one," Council Commander tried. To open comes with them, desperate, but there was no answer, not even static. The human ships left before the Council fleets could even reach firing range. It was as if they were never there at all. Back in the Council chamber, panic finally broke out. Orzoth slammed his hand down on the central control pad. "Declare war, full mobilization." The Council's leaders roared in agreement. Armies were awakened, fleets activated. The galaxy's largest military force now prepared for battle. But deep down, in the quiet spaces of their hearts, many leaders felt fear they had never felt before. Because unlike every other enemy in history, humans didn't threaten, they didn't announce war. They simply appeared, and then they made things disappear as Council ships moved out. An unknown human signal appeared once more across emergency channels. A single voice. "Calm, male, you labeled us harmless," it said. There was a long pause. Then, "Watch again." That was the last message received before all human signals vanished again. The galaxy now knew. Humans were not harmless, and their war was just beginning. The galaxy wasn't quiet anymore. The Council had sent fleets across dozens of systems. But everywhere they went, they found the same thing. Nothing. No human ships, no human signals. Silence. It was as if the enemy had vanished, until Vetrax 7 burned. Now no one on the Galactic Council laughed. No one called humans harmless anymore. Still, there was no official war. No battle had been declared. The humans had not spoken again. Not until the first real strike. It happened 5 days after Vetrax 7 fell. A planet called Yekora. Prime 1 of the Council's major military hubs was fully prepared. Hundreds of defense satellites orbited the planet. Shield arrays powered by 2 suns. Fighter wings always active. Admiral Drex commanded the planet's defense. His voice was sharp as metal. His orders always clear. His soldiers believed no force could take Yekora Prime. On the 5th night, under 2 purple moons, the Admiral stood on his station's viewing deck. His second-in-command reported calmly, "No human activity detected, Admiral. Perimeter scans clear." Drex nodded once. Maintain high alert. But inside, he was beginning to believe that the humans had already disappeared. That maybe the burning of Vetrax 7 had been the end of it. A single show of force. He was wrong. At exactly 3 o'clock station time, all light across Yekora Prime's sky turned red. No one knew why. No energy weapons fired. No alarm sounded. The sky simply glowed. Admiral Drex's mouth opened, but before he could speak, the ground below him shook. The entire command tower vibrated like a leaf in a storm. "Report," he shouted. The answer came slow, terrified Admiral. Multiple explosions. Across all defense arrays. Impossible. Shields were up. Satellites would have seen enemy fire. But as Drex watched, one by one, his defensive platforms disappeared from the sky. Bursts of flame. Silent destruction. From the planet's surface, citizens gathered in streets. All species, all ages. Looking up in horror, the stars were vanishing. It was not clouds, it's not energy storms. It was ships, human ships, massive, black, and silent, for the first time in galactic history. Humans attacked not by sending armies or declaring war, but by simply appearing everywhere at once, on the Council's homeworld. Panic spread as emergency feeds from Yakora Prime played live. The scene showed Admiral Drex's face frozen in shock as everything around him fell. The Council met again, this time under red alert protocols. The lights were dim, his faces were tense. Orzeth stood slowly. His voice was quieter now. "We must understand," he said. "This is not war as we know it. This is something else." Izara spoke next. Her sharp eyes glimmered. "This is control. They want us to see." Orzet's hand shook as he pressed a button on his console. The chamber's screen filled with a new message. It had appeared across multiple frequencies. Simple human words. "We asked for peace. You chose otherwise." The chamber fell silent. The Council's strongest leaders now looked at each other with new fear, not just of human weapons, but of human patience. Because now they saw the truth. Humans had waited. Quietly building. Quietly preparing. The Council had never seen them coming. At that same moment, in deep space, far from any world, a single human ship floated. Alone, it was called the Night Wind. Inside, Commander Alina March sat in the central chair, her eyes calm, her voice steady. "Status." Her officer replied, "Operation Phantom is complete. Yakora Prime's defense network destroyed. No counterattack." Alina nodded once. "Good. Send the message." Her communications officer pressed a control, across all Council channels. Across the galaxy, one final human voice spoke. This was the first lesson. On Council worlds, civilians stopped in their tracks. Soldiers froze. Leaders gripped their control panels tighter. The voice continued, "Do not look at us as weak. Again, watch carefully. This is how humanity fights." Then silence. No more signals. No more ships on scanners. For hours, Council leaders searched every corner of space. They found nothing. Human warships had vanished once more, except for the wreckage. Except for the burning worlds. Now every alien species across the galaxy spoke the same words. They are not gone. They are waiting. And on Earth, far below the surface in the secret command center, General Chen received the latest reports. He did not smile, did not celebrate. He simply said, "Phase 1 is done. Now we wait." Commander Elena's voice echoed through his comms unit. "The galaxy has seen," she said, and it had. The galaxy would never look at Earth the same way. Again. The Council fleet spread across the galaxy like a wave.
The thousands of warships, hundreds of scout vessels.
Every scanner. Every satellite tuned to one purpose, find the humans, but there were no signals. There were no trails. It was like chasing shadows in the heart of the Council's main fleet. Admiral Krylon of the Valtor species stood on the bridge of his flagship. His skin was steel gray, his face marked with sharp scars from older wars. "Begin sweep pattern," he ordered, voice calm. His officers obeyed. Drones launched. Scanners swept left and right. Every system searched. Hours passed. Then days. Still nothing. Admiral Krylon frowned for the first time in years. "How are they doing this?" he asked his first officer. The first officer spoke quietly. "Stealth technology? Beyond anything we have seen?" Krylon stared out at the stars, silent, suspicious. And then they received a signal. A distress call. One of the forward patrol fleets had found something. K-human scout ship, disabled, drifting in empty space. Admiral Krylon's fleet rushed there. Hundreds of ships arrived at once. The human scout vessel floated quietly. No power, no weapons online, just there, broken and turning slowly. Krylon ordered a boarding team. A team of 12 soldiers entered the human ship. What they found made the entire fleet go silent. Inside the ship, there were no bodies, no crew, only a single black cube sitting. On the command chair, one of the boarding soldiers touched it. The cube activated. A voice spoke through every ship's comms channel, clear and cold. "We knew you would find this." Admiral Krylon clenched his jaw. "Now that you have touched our warning," the voice said, "humanity will no longer hide." Before anyone could react, the cube detonated. A pulse of dark energy spread across the fleet. Shields cracked. Engines shut down. Communications went black. For 6 full minutes, the most powerful Council fleet floated dead in space, and when their systems recovered, the human scout ship was gone. Vanished. Krylon stared at the empty spot where it had been. His officers looked at him, waiting for orders. "We underestimated them," he said quietly. "Fully underestimated." Far from that fleet, on a cold Council fortress world named Varos's 5, the Council's top scientists had gathered. Job. Figure out human technology. They had managed to capture a small fragment from one of the wrecks, a piece of human armor plating. But when they tried to scan it, the machines shorted out. When they tried to cut it, their lasers bent off. The lead scientist, a short creature named Draz, whispered to himself, "Their materials... they are different." And then, the worst news arrived. One of the outer listening stations picked up a direct attack. The humans had returned. Not a scout, not a single ship, a fleet. Titan-class warships Council commanders panicked. They threw everything into defense. Orbital platforms, mines, battlecruisers, but the human ships didn't follow normal battle patterns. They didn't come in waves. They appeared suddenly behind enemy lines. They jumped into locations Council scanners said were impossible. One station's last report simply said, "They are everywhere." Admiral Krylon gathered the Council's military leaders in a secure meeting. "We must face the truth," he said, voice grim. "We are not hunting them. We are being hunted." Silence filled the room. Some leaders refused to believe. "We have the numbers," said one. "We can still overwhelm them." Krylon shook his head. "Numbers don't matter. Move like shadows. They strike, then vanish." Another officer spoke. "We have forbidden weapons." Everyone in the room fell quiet. Forbidden weapons, massive energy bombs, system-wide EMPs, ancient tools locked away since before the Council was founded. Krylon hesitated. Then he said the words, "Release them." Council fleets deployed forbidden weapons across key systems. One of them, Omega Pulse, was launched at a suspected human hideout. A human scout ship was caught in the blast. It burned, but even as it died, the ship's black box sent one final message back to Earth, in the secret human command center. General Chen watched the data come in. Commander Alina March stood beside him. "They used forbidden weapons," she said. Chen's face did not change then. "It is time." Alina nodded once. "Shall I give the order?" "Yes," Chen said simply. Across the galaxy, human fleets that had remained hidden now powered up fully. Titan-class warships appeared openly. The silent war was over now. It was open. The Council scrambled. Alarms across planets and stations. Civilians fled. Leaders argued. But nothing could stop it. The human warships didn't speak. They didn't send threats. They just moved forward, cutting through fleets like paper. Admiral Krylon's fleet engaged one of them directly. It was called the HMS. Silence. The battle lasted 11 minutes. When it was over, Krylon's fleet was gone. The Council lost their strongest admiral, their best ships. In a single strike, in the aftermath, the Council gathered in emergency session. Orzith's voice shook as he spoke. "They are not ghosts. They are the storm," Kaisera answered with a whisper. "We called them Harmless. and now our worlds burn. The galaxy, once sure of its rulers, now had a new power rising, a quiet, patient, relentless force. Humanity, and this time there would be no hiding from them. The night sky was always black and quiet on most council worlds, stars shining like dots, peaceful and far away. That night it changed, on the world called Zalith Prime. One of the wealthiest council colonies, citizens stood outside their homes. As the sky above them slowly turned red, it started as a faint glow, just a soft color in the upper atmosphere. At first, people thought it was an aurora or maybe some natural storm. Children pointed up and smiled. Traders set up stalls as usual. No one believed danger was coming until the glow deepened. Red, darker, stronger, and then shapes appeared inside that red light. Long black ships, silent, motionless. Human warships. By the time Zalith Prime's defense systems detected the fleet, it was already too late. The human ships had slipped through every scan, every early warning grid. On the Council's emergency channel, multiple worlds reported the same thing. The sky turning red. Over Wykar Station. Over Fortressa 12, over Velmer's twin moons. The galaxy was watching its own sky change color. In the Council's war room, Kaisera stood next to Orzath. Both of them stared at the live feeds. "It's happening everywhere," Orzath said in a low voice. His usual calm was gone. His skin looked pale. "They waited until all our fleets were spread out," Kaisora whispered. "Now they strike at once." Orzath pressed his hand into the command table. "Activate every defense. Full energy shields." Across council space, orders were shouted. Crews ran to battle stations. Shield grids activated. Plasma cannons charged, but even as council forces prepared, the human ships didn't fire first. They waited, letting the aliens see them, letting fear build. On Zalith Prime, one old alien teacher stood on the roof of her school.
Ow.
Her eyes filled with tears as she stared at the red sky. She remembered history lessons about ancient wars, but none of them had ever looked like this. And then the first strike came. No warning, no message. The lead human ship opened fire. A single red plasma beam sliced through Zalith Prime's main shield generator. It exploded in a silent flash. Seconds later, more beams followed. Faster now. Human warships, large and small, moved like dark birds, smooth, silent. They didn't waste time. One by one, power plants were destroyed. Communication centers hit. Military bunkers burned. What terrified the Council most wasn't the power of human weapons. It was the precision. They weren't wiping out cities randomly. They were targeting only key systems, cutting off power, cutting off comms, leaving civilians alive, but helpless. It wasn't total destruction. It was control. By the time the Council's nearest fleet reached Zalith Prime, they found the planet already in human hands. Red sky, black ships, silent orbit. The same thing happened on 6 more planets within that same hour, back on Earth. General Chen watched everything through live feeds. Commander Alina March stood beside him, arms crossed. "Are we ready for Phase 3? Alina asked Chen. Answered calmly, "Not yet. Let them panic a little longer."
What?
Lena didn't smile. None of them smiled. This wasn't about joy. It was about the message. The Council had thought humans were harmless. Now the Council was learning exactly how wrong they had been. At the Council's central station, leaders shouted over one another. "Retreat fleets. 2 core worlds. Close all outer systems. We must speak with the humans," but no one knew how. Humans had shut down all communication. Channels again. Only one small message still repeated on loop across every hacked Council frequency. "We ask for peace, and nothing else." On Veros's 5, another Council fortress world, defenses held for a little longer. Titan cannons, multi-layered shields, starfighter wings. For 2 full hours they held the line. Then the sky above Veros's 5 cracked open a human warship so large It blocked out the moons, jumped into orbit. No one had seen a ship that size before, bigger than anything in the Council's records. It fired once. That single shot tore through 3 defense platforms and melted an entire mountain. Range on the planet below. VA Ross 25 fell within 10 minutes after that. By the end of the day, 23 Council planets had lost control. Billions of aliens now lived under human rule. But there were no human soldiers marching in the streets, no loud victory speeches. The human ships simply hovered above, waiting silent, watching, as if daring the Council to try again. In the middle of all this, a smaller Council ship called the Zarian, a diplomatic vessel, made a desperate move. Captain Velra, gold-skinned diplomat, ordered her crew to approach one of the human Titan ships directly. No weapons, no shields, a suicide mission. Her crew begged her to turn back. But Velra shook her head. If we do not speak, there will be nothing left. As they approached the human ship, it did not fire. Velra opened a communication channel on all frequencies. Humans. This is Captain Velra of the Zarian. We wish to talk. Silence. She tried again. We understand now, please. Speak. To us? After 5 long minutes? Her screen flickered. A human face appeared. It was Commander Alina March. Her expression was calm, empty of anger or joy. You have words now? Lena asked quietly. Velra swallowed. Her voice shook. Yes, we surrender. Not just us. Many worlds are ready to surrender. Alina stared at her for a long moment. Then, very slowly, Alina nodded once. Good, she said. The screen went black. Back on Earth, General Chen received the report. Some of them are ready to listen, Lena said through her. Comes unit. Chen exhaled slowly. Let's see how long that lasts. But the decision had already been made. From that moment forward, the Council was no longer in control. Human fleets now held the galaxy's trade routes, energy grids, and key communication hubs. The night sky had turned red, and everyone knew exactly who had caused it. Children on Council worlds pointed up and whispered the same thing. The humans have come. From silent, harmless observers to unstoppable rulers. The galaxy's story had changed forever. The sky above the last Council city was dark and quiet.
Oh, no red glow this time.
No burning lights. The planet was called Aractor, hidden deep in a star system filled with black holes and gravity traps. This was where the Council gathered when everything else failed. It was the last safe place left. Or so they believed. Inside the underground chamber, the Council leaders sat in silence. No more grand speeches, no more jokes about harmless humans. Orzeth sat at the head of the table. His skin looked pale gray now, his long fingers shaking slightly as he held a glass of blue water he hadn't touched. KYZ Era sat across from him. Her scales had lost their shine. Her voice, always sharp, now sounded tired. 27 worlds all lost. Her voice echoed in the cold chamber. Trade routes cut, defense networks offline. Civilian governments collapsed. Orzeth closed his eyes. What is left? Silence again. A junior council member, young and yellow-skinned, finally spoke. We have the Core Guard fleet. 17,000 warships. If we concentrate them here, Kaisera cut him off. We concentrated 5 times that number around Zalith Prime. They cut through us like smoke. The young council member's voice broke. We can't just give up. But no one answered him. Instead, Orzeth activated the central command table. A map appeared galaxy-wide, red-marked human-controlled space now. Almost half the map glowed red. The other half flickered, breaking apart planet by planet. It's not just warships, Orzeth whispered. It's strategy, silence, patience. This is not random. A voice spoke suddenly from the doorway. It's because they studied us, watched us. Everyone turned. A tall figure walked into the chamber. Not an alien. A human. He wore a simple black uniform. No weapons. No guards. His face was pale, eyes sharp, steps calm. for 3 full seconds. No one spoke or moved. Finally, Kaiser's hand twitched toward the emergency alarm. But the human raised his hand. If I meant harm, he said quietly, this room would already be dust. Orzeth's voice came out as a whisper. How did you get past our defenses? The human smiled faintly. You still don't understand. Your defenses no longer exist. Your fleets, your satellites, your traps. We are already here. Silence wrapped around the room like ice. The human walked to the center of the chamber, placed a small black cube on the table. This is Earth's final offer, he said. The cube activated. Hologram appeared. Commander Alina? March. Her voice filled the chamber. Calmed the remaining council leaders. This is not revenge. This is not hate. You chose war. You chose to call us harmless. Now, surrender or vanish. The message ended. The cube powered down. The human in the room stepped back, his hands behind his back, posture relaxed. It's not a hard choice, he said softly. The galaxy belongs to us now. We are only offering you order. Orzeth's hand gripped the edge of the table until his skin turned white. You offer peace? Orzeth asked, voice shaking. Not peace? The human corrected. Control, but without more death. If you surrender. Kaiser's voice cut through the heavy air. And if we refuse? The human's smile faded. His face became stone. Then this system is next, and there will be nothing left of Eriktar but dust. The council chamber fell into total silence again. Minutes passed. Finally, Orzeth looked at KYZ Era, then at the others. There has to be another way, someone whispered, but no one spoke in support. Kizera's claws scratched the metal table slowly. How long would we have? She asked. The human answered without looking at her. Look up. First no one understood. Then Orzeth rose slowly from his chair. His steps were heavy. He walked to the small observation window built into the far wall. His voice broke. They're already here. The other council members rushed to the window. The sky above Eriktar was red. Titan-class human warships filled the orbit, silent. Motionless, Doddans, hundreds, black holes. No lights, no sound, just presence. Kaisera closed her eyes. We never had a chance. The young council member finally collapsed into his chair. His voice was small now. We surrender. One by one, the others gave the same answer, until only Orzoth and Kaisera remained. Orzoth looked back at the human standing in the center of the room. His eyes were full of something close to sorrow. We never understood you, Orzoth whispered. Not until now. The human gave no answer. Orzeth turned to Kaisera. Do we agree? Kaisera's voice was cold as iron. Yes. The human tapped his wrist pad once, and just like that, the galaxy changed forever. Later on Earth, General Chen and Commander Alina March received the confirmation signal. The council had surrendered. The war was over. Alina stood quietly in front of the central command table, her hands resting on the edge. Her voice was quiet. Full control? General Chen nodded. Full control? Neither of them smiled. There were no victory speeches, no grand banners, only silent screens showing a galaxy now under human rule. Outside the hidden Earth. Command center. The skies were blue. Birds flew. Children played. And in orbit. Titan-class warships floated in silence, not as conquerors, but as guardians. The war had begun in silence. It had ended the same way. The last defense of the Galactic Council stood on a planet called Vexor Prime. Vexor. Prime was not like the other Council worlds already lost. It was not rich. It was not peaceful. It was made for one thing. War. Every mountain on Vexor Prime was carved into weapon bunkers. Its sky was filled with defense satellites, plasma grids. Gravity Mines. Council engineers had spent hundreds of years building it. They called it the Fortress World. And now, Vexor Prime was all that was left. After the Council's surrender, some military leaders refused to accept defeat. They gathered every remaining ship, every soldier, and flew to Vexor Prime. They set up what they believed would be the final stand. Inside Vexor Prime's central command station, General Tazric stood tall. His 4 eyes watched the glowing battle map. He spoke in a sharp voice. Human fleets control most systems. But we are Vexor. This world has never fallen. His officers cheered quietly, not loudly. They all knew what was coming. Tazric's second in command. A small green-skinned officer named Relka said softly, "General, do you think they will attack here next?" Tazric answered without looking at her, "They must. We're the last." Outside in orbit, hundreds of alien warships floated. Battle cruisers, destroyers, corvettes all armed and ready. Every hour they waited, scanners active, cannons charged, but nothing came. For 2 whole days there was nothing. No human ships, no signals, no sound. Some soldiers started to hope. Maybe the humans had finished their war. Maybe they would leave Vexor alone. On the 3rd night, the sky changed. It happened just after midnight. A sensor officer screamed through the comms contacts. Multiple contacts? Human Titan-class ships entering system? Alarms rang across every base, every ship. General Tazric stood calm as the storm began. "Activate full defense grid," he ordered. "No one retreats. No one surrenders." Outside, the sky filled with black shapes, hundreds, thousands, Titan-class human warships, stealth cruisers, swarm drones, the largest human fleet the galaxy had ever seen. They did not send a message, they did not speak, they just opened fire. The first wave hit Vexor Prime's outer satellites. Explosions lit the sky red and white. Council warships fired. Back with everything they had. Plasma beams. Missile storms. For a while it looked like the Council forces held their own. Human ships exploded too. But then, human battle formations shifted. They began moving like shadows, appearing in strange places, attacking from behind. Inside gravity fields, Council scanners could not keep up. Inside Vexor Prime's command station, officers shouted over one another. "Sector 7 destroyed. Shield wall collapsing." General Tazric's face never changed. His voice stayed steady. "Keep firing." By the 6th hour of battle, for half the Council fleet was gone. The sky above Vexor Prime burned. From the planet's surface, civilians hiding in bunkers could see nothing but red and black in the upper atmosphere. Children cried,
Old soldiers
sat with their heads down, listening to distant explosions. On the command deck, Relka turned to Tazric. "General, it's over." He said nothing for a long time. Then, as another shockwave shook the command station, he pressed a small button on the control table. A private comm channel opened, to Earth, to the human fleet commander. A calm female voice answered. "This is Commander Elena March." Tazric spoke slowly. "This is General Tazric, of Vexor Prime." Silence followed for 3 full seconds. Then Elena's voice came again. "Speak, General." Tazric looked at his officers. At the burning map, the sky. He closed his eyes once. Vexor Prime surrenders. Those words had never been spoken before. Vexor Prime had stood for centuries. It had never fallen. Now it had. Elena's voice did not sound pleased. It did not sound angry. "Understood," she said quietly. "Prepare for landing." 30 minutes later, human ships began descending toward the planet. Not warships now, control ships. Peacekeeping craft from every destroyed command post, Council. Officers stepped outside with their hands raised, weapons thrown down. On one landing platform, General Tazric waited. Commander Elena March stepped off her shuttle. Wearing a black command uniform, for a long moment the 2 leaders simply looked at each other. Finally, Tazric spoke. You waited until the very end, didn't you?" Lena nodded once. "We don't waste words," she said. "Or time." Tazric's voice was quiet. "Your patience was your weapon?" Elena looked up at the burning sky. It always was. Across the galaxy, news spread faster than light. The last Council defense had fallen. There were no more fleets. No more strongholds. Humanity now ruled all. But there were no parades. No flags raised in celebration. Human warships simply hovered in orbit above every world, silent, watching, maintaining order. On Earth, inside the deep command bunker, General Chen received the final confirmation. A young officer walked up to him. "Sir, Vexor Prime is secure." Chen nodded once. He tapped his CUM unit to all human forces. "Hold position. Begin transition protocols." That was all Earth had. Won not just through strength, but through control, through waiting, through silence. Back on Vexor Prime, Commander Alina stood on a quiet balcony, looking down at the alien city now under human rule. Relka, Tazrik's second in command, stood beside her. Relka asked in a soft voice, "What happens now?" Alina answered without turning. "Now, and we keep the galaxy from falling apart." And for the first time in history, the stars above did not belong to the Council. They belonged to Earth. Silent, steady. A quiet empire rising, not through noise, but through patience. The stars were no longer free. Across the galaxy, in every system once ruled by the Galactic Council, now there was one constant thing: human warships in the sky. From peaceful trade worlds to former fortress planets like Vexor Prime, every species now looked up and saw black Titan-class ships hovering quietly. Silent giants, motionless, watching everything. There were no more battles, no more alarms. The war was over. The Council was finished, but there was something else left behind. Fear, in a small mining colony called Telver 4. A child named Carex stood outside his home one night. His father had told him stories of the Council, how the Council had ruled for thousands of years, how they'd believed humans were harmless. Now Carex knew the truth. Above his head, a human warship floated, so large it blocked half the sky. Its lights were off. It didn't move, didn't say anything, just watching. Carex whispered to himself, "They are the sky now." All far away on Earth, in the hidden mountain command center, General Chen stood quietly in front of a large, clear window. Beside him, Commander Alina March watched the same galaxy-wide map. The map now showed almost all systems marked in red. Red for human control. There were only 2 systems left unmarked. Small outer systems. No fleets. No value. A junior officer stepped up behind General Chen. "Sir, shall we send forces to the remaining 2 systems?" Chen didn't answer right away. His eyes were calm, his hands resting behind his back. After a long pause, he spoke. "No," he said quietly. "We've made our message clear." Alina spoke next, her voice steady. "If they want to survive, they'll surrender on their own." General Chen nodded once, and so Earth didn't attack the last 2 systems. Didn't have to. Within 3 days, both outer systems sent surrender. Signals on their own. The galaxy had made its choice. On the former Council homeworld. Now under human control, the last leaders walked freely through the streets. There were no human soldiers on every corner. No loud occupation orders. Instead, things simply worked. Shuttles flew on schedule. Trade routes opened again. Law and order stayed the same, only now enforced quietly by human technology. Above it all, in orbit, Earth's silent ships floated. Always there, inside a new council chamber, rebuilt under human guidance, Orzeth stood as an advisor now. A ruler, not a council leader anymore. Beside him, Kaizora spoke with a quiet voice. They rule without needing to say a word. Orzeth nodded slowly. They learned patience. They learned silence. Both of them looked up through the ceiling window at the black warships above. They waited until the galaxy needed order. Kaizora whispered. Then they gave it. On Earth, news spread quietly too. Humans didn't celebrate like some had expected. There were no fireworks. No giant parades. Most of Earth's population simply continued with life. Working, living, building. But everyone knew. Everyone on Earth understood. What had changed? They were no longer just one planet in the stars. They were the center now. The heart of the new galaxy. Back in the command center, General Chen received a private message. It came from a council civilian representative. Simple text. Why did you wait so long to show your strength? Chen didn't type a reply right away. Instead, he spoke quietly to himself. As Commander Alina stood beside him, we waited, he said, because we had to. Power shown too soon becomes weakness. Power shown too late becomes defeat. Alina. Finish the thought, but power shown at the exact right time becomes legend. Chen finally typed a short message back, "'Cause the sky belongs to those who wait." And with that, Earth's new era began fully. Across the galaxy, monuments were built on many worlds, not statues of human generals or human warships. Simple towers, black stone reaching toward the sky. On each one, same words were written in many alien languages. We labeled them Harmless. We thought they were weak. Then we looked up and saw Earth. Carrick's the child from Telver 4 visited one of those towers with his father many years later. His father knelt beside him and said softly, "Remember this, Carrick's. Never judge what you don't understand. Never call someone harmless just because they are quiet." Kyrex nodded slowly, his eyes fixed on the black stone tower, far above. The human ship still floated, silent, watching, unmoving. For as long as he lived, Kyrex would remember that shape, not as a threat, but as a reminder that the quietest power is often the strongest, and so the galaxy moved forward, not in fear, but in balance, with Earth above them all, watching, waiting, and always ready.